What's up, nerds? I'm Nick.
I'm Scott.
And today we're going to talk about the exciting prospect of a new Clone Wars season, Season 7 of Star Wars Clone Wars. But the question is, should we be excited, or is it an unnecessary dip back into some nostalgia? Stay tuned to find out.
If you love movies and you love talking about them, make sure you hit that subscribe button and become part of our notification squad by hitting the bell. And if you dig our content, make sure you give the video a like.
Now, let's talk about Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7. For those of you who don't remember, a long time ago on a TV network far, far away, there came a time of hope when a new series was giving us a whole new mythos of Star Wars and amazing stories just before the final Revenge of the Sith film. It filled in a lot of good blanks. We were introduced to a plucky new Padawan and some amazing adventures, but then it was cancelled once the dark forces of Disney bought out the franchise. And now, so many years, these young rebels come back again, full circle, to tell us their story. Scott, how do you feel about Season 7?
Yeah, so they released the trailer at Star Wars Celebration. So this is the first look that we've had at Season 7 as a complete picture. So this is Dave Filoni and the crew going back to be able to finish the story that kind of got cut abruptly. And from what we've seen, I'll be honest, Nick, I don't know if there's anything in there that's jumping out at me that it's like, this is necessary. Like, there's a lot of focus on Ahsoka as a character, who I'm so about, but definitely towards the end of, the end of the Clone Wars, there was a big decision that was made on her behalf, and it kind of influenced kind of her character going forward, which led directly into Rebels. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that sure, Clone Wars kind of got cut to some degree. We didn't get to see a complete ending, but we know how that story ends, right? Episode 3 comes along and life goes on, right? What Ahsoka did kind of gave it a bit more finality to why she's never mentioned in the films, and Anakin's kind of response to it all. And then she comes back in Rebels. So this trailer we saw today was the first look of her basically just jumping back into the fight with the clones. And like, it just seems odd.
I think this is a big problem with Star Wars. Like, they get the hint that they have a huge timeline. They have a lot of mythos, and they get addicted to going back and filling in gaps unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, Rebels wrapped up a lot of this story pretty well.
Yeah.
And I suppose Darth Maul, you might want to do more stuff with him, but even so, his story arc was wonderfully wrapped up. Ahsoka's story has a finality, and like you said, beauty, because it's connected and tied to Anakin's progress as Darth Vader. And even so, even though it wasn't a perfect ending, Season 6, we actually got everything we needed. We got Yoda connecting to the Force.
Yeah, it explored some interesting stuff.
We got a hint that Yoda knew Palpatine was corrupt. Mm-hmm. There were some incredible moments in Clone Wars. Now, if you haven't seen Clone Wars, please do yourself a favor.
It's worth your time, folks. Like, there is a lot of episodes in there, and some of it is quite filler. But there is some really good stuff in there. It's definitely and there is some, especially later on when they start doing 3 or 4 episode long arcs, explores some really interesting stuff, and it kind of really, brings to really expands on the brothership, the brotherhood, I guess, between Anakin and Obi-Wan, gives the clones some more life, and all that kind of stuff. I think it is definitely worth your time, but I feel like they went above and beyond in Rebels to try and bring some of that finality to Clone Wars. And so for them now to go back into Clone Wars to bring that final season, it kind of seems a little unnecessary. And the trailer came out today, and it looked exactly like the Clone Wars that we kind of watched, right? There's nothing jumping out at me saying this seems brand new or exciting.
Well, you don't want to change the animation style too much. Clone Wars has a very unique look about it, especially when compared to Rebels. Rebels is a bit more cartoony. The lightsaber effects are very different. But there was something very lovely about Clone Wars, where I hate to say this to Ewan McGregor and to Alec Guinness, but Tom Arnold, that voice for Obi-Wan from Clone Wars has become the definitive voice I imagine in my head.
And there's quite a lot of that, I think, in Clone Wars, that there's so much character and so much TV to watch there that you do get attached to the voice of the clones being D. Bradley Baker, etc., and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of get that. But yeah, I feel like to go back and, in this trailer they showed obviously a confrontation between Ahsoka and Maul. you get excited. It looked like Ahsoka was going down to level 1313, which is obviously a video game concept that never saw the light of day.
And it's weird because during Clone Wars, we actually got a hint about Coruscant's level 13. In fact, Clone Wars was the first Star Wars story to actually show us, to see the underbelly of Coruscant.
Correct, yeah.
It's weird because I don't think people realize it. I'm going to confess something. When Clone Wars first began, I was not a fan. When I saw that Warner Brothers logo and I saw the movie coming, I was like, cash in.
Yeah, I agree.
And the first 2 seasons, I was out there. And then I read an article online where they're like, Clone Wars is the best Star Wars story we didn't know we would have. Mm-hmm. And as I began to watch it, I became enthralled with it. I haven't been enthralled with a series like that since Batman the Animated Series. I actually saw it was, come on. It was definitely comparable to Batman Animated Series. It had some adult storytelling. You mentioned the Clone Troopers. There was a season arc in which we learned the Clone Troopers, how they do their training, a Jedi Master who used them as cannon fodder, and we actually got the feel for the Clone Troopers that even though they were seen as things that were disposable for the Jedi and for the Republic, we actually realized that they do feel, they do get scared. And we even see clone deserters. Like, we've never conceived these things in Star Wars. We never see people walking away from the war.
Yeah, so all that stuff, I think, it kind of really made the Clone Wars the show that it was. So I guess, do you think this is cheap, them going back and making a season 7? Like, do you think, like, obviously Dave Filoni and the team felt like they had something more to say, and there was all these, like, animatics of episodes they'd all planned out and everything, so there's probably a lot of this stuff was already in flight before it got cancelled, so it probably wasn't that big a deal for them to kind of go back. But with everything that they've done since then, like, do you think this is a step backwards or an unnecessary step?
It could be a step forwards. I mean, we have to give a bit of trust to them because they've had experience telling good stories.
Yep.
And let's not forget, Solo was supposed to have a spin-off Darth Maul story. So Darth Maul twice got gypped, the poor fella. So
they mentioned in the interviews today when they're talking about Darth Maul coming back that they've been influenced by his look in Solo and try to somewhat echo that, because I guess from a timeline point of view, he's probably closer to Solo than it probably is to where he shows up in Rebels again. So
I know for the one of the deleted ideas that we're going to spin off in the comic is Darth Maul's time as leader on Mandalore, because he was supposed to have a period where he was a leader, and he founded an organization. So even though I have to admit it feels cheap that they're going back to Clone Wars, there could be some really good stories to come out of there. That's the weird thing about it. I actually trust them, even though I'm a bit ambivalent.
Yeah. What I think, back to the Solo point, is that I think if there's opportunity to explore some of the themes that they explored in Solo that have been cut short, they can do that kind of connection. That'd be cool. I saw the the Pikes who show up in Kessel show up briefly in that trailer. So any kind of connections there, I think would be cool, because I'm really kind of like the whole Crimson Dawn stuff, all that stuff they kind of explored in Solo. I think there's opportunity there. So, maybe that can tie in with the whole 1313 or something. But I think, look, I'm cautiously optimistic about this. I don't think it's super necessary. I'm really excited about, obviously, The Mandalorian, Episode 9, and this is just kind of, it's there. I haven't really got into Resistance as much, but I adored Rebels, so I'm excited for them I'm excited just to see how they can, give themselves that finality to the Clone Wars and finish off the way they intended. But I can't tell you that the trailer jumped out at me as like, this is must-watch TV, not compared to The Mandalorian or even what we saw with Episode 9.
Scott, I 100% concur. And look, nerds, tell us what you think. I mean, we're two diehard Star Wars fans, but maybe you have a different opinion. Maybe you haven't seen... Yeah. Look, if you haven't seen Clone Wars, go watch it. Comment below. Let us know what you think. Now, on behalf of Scott, and on behalf of Nick, we'll see you nerds at the movies. Hi nerds, what's up? Sorry, let's try it again. Now remember, don't forget the... If you've done it before, thank you very much. If not before, please do it.